Everyone, welcome to podcast episode 1 of the J Rendina Podcast. Thank you for watching, firstly. Today, we're going to be talking about the importance and urgency when you own a business. So, a little background. I am from New York. If anyone knows about New York, we have a New York speed, right? And that's a real thing. I actually just got back from vacation from Greece, and what I realized is that our speed does not work anywhere else. If you're not urgent in New York, you're not going to succeed. That Frank Sinatra song, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, is really, really true. So I want to talk about what I learned starting and running a business in New York and why you need to implement some urgency in your business. Before we get into that, I'm going to tell you a little story about one of the businesses I'm opening is a wellness center. And we're putting in a flow tank, a sauna, and a cold plunge, and then some other services as well. Now, I have a funny story with the flow tank. So my ass, when I was ordering the flow tank, was like, I need the biggest one. Fuck it, because why not? Like, why not get the biggest flow tank I could have? Because of course it's gonna fit, right? Without even thinking through the process of how I'm gonna get it to where it has to go. Mind you, it's on the second floor of a building. So I did my research, and I'm not really a big research person, firstly, so let's start there. But I did my research and I found a company that I really liked called Flow Tank Solutions, and they give you a whole list of what flow tank to pick. So I found this company called Flow Pods, or Dream Pods rather. It's called Dream Pods. And they have the coolest ones, the coolest designs, and the coolest technology that's associated with the flow tank. And I'm like, yeah, that's the one I want. So I get the one that is called the XL. So technically it can flow 2 people. Now, again, I had to bring it to the second floor of my clinic in Peekskill, New York. Without thinking it's not going to fit, I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to order it and see what happens. 2 mistakes. 1, the color was wrong that came in. 2, when the delivery came with the flow tank, I had no way to get it off the truck. So luckily, I pivoted and brought it to my house. Got a bunch of good friends to help me get it off the truck. So there's a story there. Firstly, I want to dive into it just to paint a picture because this is ridiculous, and this can go on forever. We'll start here. So I got a friend to bring a forklift, and he brought it to my house. Then the delivery truck comes. Now, the flow tank is in the back of this truck, right? So our forklift doesn't have the reach aspect to go in and grab it to pull it out. So that was mistake number 1. Now, this all started because I was just like, fuck it, I'm going to order it. So that's why I'm saying urgency is key. I'm showing you my mistake to say like, hey, you could still make these mistakes and learn from it and grow from it. So back to that story. What we do is we tie these ropes to the flow pod. And this thing is massive and it comes in one piece, and we pull it to the end of the truck. Now, the second aspect is if you put the forklift in and you lift it, it's going to tilt over because it's too damn big. So we had a problem solved there. So I really thought I was going to die that day because I had to stand on top of this box. We tied down the flow tank to the forklift. And then as we moved, I was standing on it the whole time so we could tilt it. This is ridiculous. This is happening in my front yard. Thank God we got it down successfully, okay? So that's the first step. Then we bring it's in my house for a while. And I'm like, okay, how are we going to get this thing up to the second floor? My mind, it fits up the stairs perfectly. I was completely wrong. So we had a problem solve again. And the next thing was saying, we got to bring this thing through the window. Now, we have videos of this, and we'll be posting that too. And my wife did post it already, but we'll post it again. Thank God I know a guy who runs a company, a glass company. He's like, I can get this through. The base of the flow tank is 600 pounds. So what we did was we put it on his truck. We delivered it on a Friday night. I ordered a crane to come to the facility to make sure we can maneuver it. In that process, we had to create like a chute for the flow tank to put it in. And then as we lifted it, we had to have a guy on the forklift and then 3 guys on the inside to get ready to take it through the window. It fit the window by 1 inch, right? So mind you, again, I did not plan efficiently for this, but we let it work, and now it's sitting there getting prepped and ready to actually have people come in and use it. So I tell you that story to say I fucked up drastically, right? And yes, I was urgent and I took action on that aspect and it worked, thankfully. But having urgency is key to success in any business, period. So that float tank is sitting there now, getting ready and prepped for people to actually start floating. Thank God for that. It's there and it worked out. Urgency, right? So let's go back to that. What does urgency allow you to do throughout your everyday? What I notice a lot is people who are not urgent are not taking action. They're thinking too far into the future without actually making steps to execute on what they need to. Right? This is our step number one, or I would say our key takeaway number one. Being urgent allows you to take action. You have to have a sense of urgency, especially if you're going to be a business owner. It's not easy to say, hey, I want to open a business and that's it, and just leave it, let be. When you own a business, that is your life. Everything rises and falls on your ability to take action. And I would even say urgent action. Get whatever you want to get out there, and then as you're going, adjust. I've heard a good quote before. I don't know who it's from, but it's like you're flying in the air in an airplane that's partially made, and you're patching it up as you go. And that's the reality of what being an entrepreneur is. And once you get over that hurdle that, hey, there is no security, it's easier. So take action with urgency. The second step I want to talk about is New York speed is the key to getting shit done, right? And what do I mean by that? I grew up in the city, so that speed is embedded in my DNA. I was on subways when I was 3-4 years old, messing with bums and doing stuff I wasn't proud of. But that speed taught me a lot, right? Like I'm able to go out into the world and just do things quickly because I know that wherever the chips may fall, we can fix and adjust based on that. And I wouldn't be that way if it wasn't for that New York speed, right? There's a pulse in New York. If anyone listening is not from New York, the faster, the better, right? Even the way people walk. If you go to New York City, if you're not walking fast, you'll get trampled. So having that New York speed is crucial. And you don't have to be from New York to have that. Come and visit. Or you know what? If you have that little bit of an edge, just get fast at doing things. The faster, the better. The third takeaway, mistakes do not equal failure. A lot of people think that when they make a mistake, that's it, they're done. I would say that mistakes are necessary for any business. If you're in a service-based business, if you know that you want to do that and you want to be successful in that field, make all the mistakes you can, because if you're not making mistakes, you're not progressing. If you're not learning from what you have done in the past, how can you know where you need to go? I made tons of mistakes. I still make mistakes to this day. I have 4 clinics and I still don't know what I'm doing. It's still a learning process. So you have to be okay with making mistakes. A lot of that is mindset, right? Like a lot of people are very fearful that if they make a mistake, they're never going to be able to bounce back from it. But the reality is, if you don't make a mistake, you're never going to learn your lesson and be able to adjust and scale. And if you want to scale any service-based business, you have to be okay with making some of those mistakes. So those are 3 big points to how to use urgency to your advantage. And, I want to conclude this with saying that urgency and anxiety are 2 very different things. That's not to say that I don't feel anxious sometimes, because I do. But being urgent doesn't mean you're anxious. It just means that you want to get things done fastly and you're okay with putting it out there. So don't put them in the same category, especially for your mind. Because if you're saying, wow, I feel anxious right now, it's like, are you really feeling anxious, or are you just being urgent to make sure you're getting stuff out? And if you're the owner of your business, or you have a service-based business where you're the main person and you're looking to scale, if you're not urgent, anyone in your team's not going to be urgent with you, because it all relies on you. So the reality is you have to set the pace for everyone else. That's another little key takeaway. So if you like that video, guys, let me know what you think. We're going to be putting out more of this. It's a short little video, but I hope you got some quality content from it. Thank you.